Okay. On this same note, I saw that you're speaking about suspended pavement in your talk in Tucson. And could you explain to us what that is?
Sure. So suspended pavement simply means that the material that holds up the pavement, that takes the load, there's a spacer in between. In the case of the Silva cells, it's this post and beams of plastic that moves that point of pressure down 3 or 4 feet, whatever that depth is. And so the load is down 4 feet, and the space in between is being held up by the posts and beams. And the soil can be very loose and non-structural, and its only purpose is to be essentially the best soil possible to grow vegetation the best way possible.
Oh, okay.
So the loading is transferred away from the soil.
Oh, okay. So it's not compacted anymore.
Nope.
Okay, neat.
So the typical compaction rate under a sidewalk or a road is somewhere between 95 and 100%. And as an example, that you can almost land an airplane on that kind of compaction level. What we're talking about for the compaction level for these trees to grow is about 80 to 85%, which is a little more than when somebody dumps it out of the truck. It's when if somebody walked around on it once or twice, that's what it would be equal to.
Oh.
At a layperson's framework.
So do you think suspended pavement, I mean, ideally this is what we would use from now on, right? But in terms of like cost and viability, do you think that's possible?
Yeah, there are more and more municipalities that are doing that.
Okay.
Essentially, this notion of growing trees in cities has been on a continuum of improvements for the last 30 plus years. And Jim Urban, who's been a pioneer in this area, he and a group of other people looked at what they call structural soil, which is essentially rock with some soil in it, like about 80% rock, 20% soil. You can compact that, but it takes on a great deal of volume to equal to the equivalent in loam or high-quality garden soil. And so that was like, okay, well, we tried that, and we'll move it along. And then there was another thing called structural sand soil. So it's essentially about 95% sand, about 5% soil. And that does really well in places with a high water table. And so essentially the trees have access to lots and lots of water, can grow very, very quickly, but there's also lots of oxygen in that matrix. But again, that takes a great deal more volume. And the research has shown that the volume ratios are about, so if I have 1 cubic foot of soil, it will take 5 cubic feet of structural soil or structural sand soil to equal that 1 cubic feet of loam.
Okay.
And as a general rule, if I draw a circle in plan view of what the canopy will be like in the future, and it's equal to, say, 600 square feet, it will take, if I'm just growing it by itself in the middle of the room there, and it has no other way of accessing other soils or getting the benefit of other tree roots beside it, it will take 2 cubic feet of soil to support 1 square foot of canopy.
Wow. Amazing. So we'd need like 12.
Where this has really gone into effect is some of the European cities, and Toronto, Vancouver, Seattle and Portland, Minneapolis, Chicago to an extent, definitely New York, Charlotte, North Carolina. There's quite a few cities that are starting to do this, and typically what's been driving them towards it is this: they have some kind of a stormwater problem, and they're having to, necessity is driving them to look at a set of more tools than possibly they might have looked at before.